Blue Lock's episode Nagi is a spin-off manga dedicated to the journey of Nagi Seishiro throughout Blue Lock, essentially retelling the story through his perspective. But with Nagi's elimination from Blue Lock and episode Nagi's recent reveal of it ending in the next coming 2 months, many are wondering what's to come from this story. And I have a theory that's so outrageous and crazy that nobody's going to want to believe me. I believe that episode Nagi will be getting a second anime movie adaptation. Now just hear me out, because I know how crazy that sounds, especially coming from me, someone who ridiculed the episode Nagi movie to the point where it was one of my most viewed videos for a long time. But not only do I believe that an episode Nagi part 2 is coming, I think that adapting this spin-off manga to be a second anime movie would actually be a really good idea. So in today's video, I'll be showing you all of the signs that I think point towards 8-Bit releasing an episode Nagi part 2 and explain why doing so would be a good idea. Before I get into the video, I want to leave a spoiler warning for the main series manga and the episode Nagi spin-off manga, and if you're not caught up on either series, I would suggest you click off this video now if you wish to not be spoiled. I also have a Discord server called the Neo Egoist Geeks, which you should totally join. The link to that is down below. Now the big elephant in the room question I think I should be addressing is, why would we ever want an episode Nagi part 2? I mean, the last movie wasn't even that good of an adaptation. It was essentially just treated as a recap movie. We got a few new moments from the movie, but half the manga content was actually cut, and the majority of the game against Team Z, for example, was simply reused footage with better composition. And while that is true, we won't have to deal with any issues like that going into a second movie. Now, if you knew anything about Season 2 and the quality of Blue Lock Season 2 anime, you know how bad a lot of the moments were adapted. Don't even get me started on the PowerPoint transitions that they used. But we don't necessarily have to worry about those issues anymore, because 8-Bit has now changed their production committee. See, the production committee was actually the big bad when it came to the decisions and rushed product, not 8-Bit themselves. During the release of Season 2, there were a lot of people coming out, specifically previous animators for Season 2, talking about how their cuts were trimmed down, specifically during the third selection. And that isn't exactly 8-Bit Studios' fault, it's the production committee for 8-Bit pushing the animators to create a rushed product. However, in February of 2025, it was revealed that Blue Lock actually switched production committees, now working under Kadokawa. Under this production committee, other projects like Mushoku Tensei are produced, and if you've seen the quality that they put out, there is less issues to worry about a poor adaptation. So if you are against an episode Nagi movie because of the quality you would be getting, you don't have to worry about that now. We would be getting a good quality movie. Now, when discussing the possible adaptation for a second episode Nagi movie, we should discuss the content that would be adapted. Episode Nagi will be concluding its spin-off in August of this year, meaning we have around 2 more chapters until the manga finishes. Because of this, we will be getting the full scope of what is available for adaptation come August, which, if you have been keeping track of the story, is around 3 to 4 full games worth of content. This includes the 3v3 game against Haragi's team, the 4v4 against Karasu and Atoya's team, the World 5 game, and the 2v2 game against Shido's team. Now, at the time of me making this, I cannot tell you whether or not Shido's goal against the World 5 team would be adapted. However, based on the amount of time we have left for this spin-off, I'm going to assume it would be just a very small portion or a very small cut. So likely it would also be adapted in the movie as well. So technically, 3 to 5 games worth of substantial content. Now typically that would be a lot, because again, 3 to 5 games, that's about as much as the first episode Nagi movie had to adapt. However, if you review the episode Nagi manga, several of the games shown would only last around 3 to 4 minutes as an adapted cut, simply because we don't see much content for some of the matches. But with the availability for this content to be viewed, it would be a waste to not adapt it in some way, shape, or form. I mentioned earlier how a huge issue I had with the first episode Nagi movie was how it was treated as less of an adaptation and more of a recap of Season 1. Well, assuming a second episode Nagi movie would be made, we would not have to worry about the movie being treated as a recap. That's because they would only be able to adapt new and fresh content that has not been addressed in the main story yet. Speaking of new content, the 2v2 game against Shido's team is something I want to bring up here. In the second season of the anime, 8-Bit did not adapt the Shido vs Kunigami and Ryo game in the anime. Why exactly do you think that is? Well, you could assume that it came down to pacing, but I don't believe that to be the entire reason. According to an interview done with the director of the anime along with Isagi's Japanese voice actor during Anime Expo 2024, it was revealed that the creator of Blue Lock, Muneyuki Kaneshiro, was actively involved with the production of the second season. So because Kaneshiro is not only involved with the creation of the episode Nagi spin-off manga, but also the second season of the anime, he could have potentially told 8-Bit not to adapt this match, as he would be adding more content for in episode Nagi, which he did, as we get to see more content from that game in a later chapter. By doing this, he's essentially giving a green light for a second episode Nagi movie, allowing for the studio to fully adapt the Shido vs Kunigami and Ryo game game in that movie. Again, this is just speculation, but I do believe that it is somewhat feasible given the evidence that has been provided for us. But the bottom line that it comes down to is that adapting episode NAGI as a second anime movie would make the ending of the new Egoist League so much more impactful. Before I explain why that is, I want to remind you guys that if you are enjoying this video so far, leave me a like and subscribe down below to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this. It costs you guys absolutely nothing to do so, and it helps me out immensely. And if you want to help even more, if you were to become a member of the channel, you would not only earn some awesome benefits like personal video requests and shoutouts on videos, but you would also get your name mentioned in the Blue Lock New World movie as a contributor to the project. And this also applies to super chatting. So like, subscribe, and become a member today to show your support for me and my content. Now, going into the conclusion of the new Egoist League, we know that Nagi Seishiro was officially eliminated from the Blue Lock project. And there was a lot of speculation as to what was going to happen to Nagi leading up to this decision. There were so many debates happening of people saying that Nagi was going to survive versus Nagi was going to be locked off. But when you go through and analyze the episode Nagi spin-off manga, there are so many moments which highlight that possible speculation and foreshadowing. Now, many of you may not know this, but I got into the Blue Lock manga thanks to the anime, and I'm certain a lot of you guys did as well. Adapting episode Nagi as a movie would allow for fans to be more invested in the series, but also give non-manga readers a chance to theorize and experience more hints into Nagi's future in the story. Especially going into the game against Manshan City, having all of the information and foreshadowing of episode Nagi, this would lead fans to being more invested in Nagi's every move and action that he makes. But not just Nagi, other characters would be given more hype and spotlight going into season 3. Examples being Igaguri and Kiora. Igaguri first debuted his militia tackle in the 2v2 game with Shido against Ryo and Kunigami. So going into the NEL and seeing him use it on Rain in the PXG game, it would be a great way to show how far Igaguri has come with his development of this skill. But it would also highlight Kiora. We got so hype in the Ubers game to see that Kiora was potentially subbing in and eventually was promised a spot by Noah on the next starting lineup. However, for us manga fans, when Kiora did sub on, he proceeded to only impact a single play during his time in the NEL. If episode Nagi was given the chance to adapt the rest of its content into a second anime movie, it would be a great way to highlight these characters in a way that gets anime fans more attached to them. I mean, everyone had expected heat from Kiora due to his performance in episode Nagi, so to get those moments adapted as a movie, and then see his pass to Kaiser, which helped create the greatest goal in the entire series, adapting the rest of episode Nagi as a second anime movie would make the most amount of sense for the development of this character. I also made a video a long time ago back in January with me predicting the pacing for Blue Lock Season 3 over the next couple of years. I think that if episode Nagi were to be adapted as a movie, releasing it just after the Manshan City game but before the NEL was over, or before the Manshan City game, would be the best for this adaptation. If it released earlier, people would be on the lookout for Nagi's actions and development in this new season, but if it released after the Manshan City game, people would start to wonder about Nagi's survival in the NEL, given the importance of Ego's words and the lessons taught during the story. See, I had predicted that the NEL was going to be segmented into two different parts. The first part of the season would adapt Barcha, Manshan, and Ubers, and the second part would adapt the PXG game and the Manshan vs Barcha game. Episode Nagi, if it were to get a second anime movie, would be better off releasing in between those two parts, as to not only build hype for Kiora going into the PXG game, but also give depth and speculation as to Nagi's future. I know that a lot of people were against a second episode Nagi movie, but as a true fan of the series, I think given the recent conditional improvements with the studio, along with the importance of the manga for Nagi's development and other characters as well, that making a sequel to this beloved spinoff is definitely a surefire way to not only produce more hype for season 3, but also get more people invested in the future arcs and events of the story concerning Nagi and his involvement. But those were just my thoughts as to why a second episode Nagi movie is not only a good idea, but is also very likely to happen. I know that there are a lot of people who have some doubt in regards to the quality of a second movie, but I'm more inclined to have faith in the studio as opposed to give them my doubts. But aside from that, I hope you guys did enjoy this video and will continue to enjoy it in the future. I just want to say thank you so much to all the members of the channel who help support me and my content, and if you wish to earn some awesome benefits like they do, and even get your name mentioned in the Blue Lock New World movie, become a member yourself and help support me moving forward. And just a final reminder to join my Discord server if you're ever interested in getting any more involved with our amazing community. As for the question of the video, do you think getting a second episode Nagi movie is likely, and would you even want one to come out if it was announced? Leave me your thoughts down below in the comment section. And like always, thank you all for watching, like and subscribe to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this.